Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'm actually giving you a bit of an update on my Fleur Woods piece. It's really coming alive now. It was a struggle. I was sort of trying to piece it together and it was heading in different directions and my colour palette was just swooshing all over the place, but I really feel like I'm starting to bring it together cohesively. There's still hours and hours and hours of stitching to do. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can sort of see. It's the course has been great. It's helped me to become, I guess, freer in my stitching. There's still heaps to do. The flower in the center I'm calling finished, and that's because I've finally got the beads into position. So these pieces over here are semi-stitched. You can still see fabric, there's a little bit of stitching, the leaves are still being worked, and I'm yet to put the beads through. So there's a lot of different elements from pieces of old stitching. So I've incorporated this cross-stitch piece. There's little pieces of embroidery from different trims just to help add texture. Some ribbon embroidery through here and up here. Yet to do something here. And then to give myself a boundary, I've put the scraps, which I just love doing, just using some of my scraps to sort of close my boundary in. And it wasn't till I did this that I really felt like I'd got my position of where I was heading with it. I sort of felt like I was heading into, I don't know, Never Never Land, where now I feel like I know where I'm going with it. So really, really happy with it. There's hours of work on it. Goodness knows when I'll get it finished. But I do like picking it up and, you know, just doing a little bit on it. I've got this basket sitting here with it. And remember the snail I made, the Tilda snail? He's now glued into position at the side of this little wicker basket. And in here are just random threads, bits and pieces from projects where I can just pick up a thread and just stitch it into the piece. So thoroughly enjoying the colour palette. This palette too, I threw in some Steph Francis threads that I've been hoarding for ages, and they've been absolutely delightful to play with. It's just given my piece that punch of colour it needed, like there and there. So yeah, I had to be brave to use them because I love them, and it was sort of a little bit left field to what I would normally do. So that's my project, my Fleur Woods Pick It Up Occasionally Stitch. I just love it. I can't wait till I get to the point where I drizzle the beads over the top and stitch those in. Now, that's the update on the actual stitching. The main reason I'm here is Fleur Woods has released her first book. Absolutely beautiful looking book, and it's arrived. So I thought, let's have a look. I've taken it out of the packaging, but I haven't had a flip through. So I thought I might take you along on that little journey of discovery. We won't go through every page because this thing is thick. Look at that. That would have to be one of my thickest books I'd say I've got. I'm just looking at my pile of books over there. Yeah, we're up there for value for money, let me tell you. I got mine from Booktopia, but they are in the process of jetting around the world at most bookshops would have it. If they don't, just ask, otherwise hop online. If you want to buy direct from Fleur's publisher in New Zealand, go to her Instagram account and there's links there across to the publishing house. There's the publishing house. I'll just bring that up to the camera so you can do a screenshot. But just be careful of freight. Sometimes it's cheaper to find a distributor in your country. All right, let's go. Can't wait. This piece on the front is just gorgeous. She had that piece in the class that I was doing in one of the lessons, and she described it as ethereal. So if I use that word a bit, that was one of the key things that really resonated with me. There she is, the gorgeous Fleur. Was that your work doesn't have to be dense and heavily stitched. It can be ethereal. Oh, look at the, oh, this is all fabric dyed and stitched. Look at this. This is what I'd class as ethereal, just a soft and floaty and, oh, yummy. Look at her mood board. Oh, this is going to be one of those books where if you're just looking for some inspiration to get you going. Hi, Fleur, how are you? Oh, I can't wait to read it. Oh, guys. She really loves her garden and she's constantly picking clusters of flowers and taking them inside to her studio. And you can see the direct impact that has on her, and it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, so look where she lives, like seriously. The beginnings. Oh, that piece, yeah. She dyes her own fabrics and she goes through that in her class, and it is such a simple way of doing it. Like, I've always been frightened to dye fabrics. I've never been real brave. I don't really want to make a big mess. But the way she does it and shows you in the class, it's really clever. Look at her garden. Like, the girl has a real affinity for flowers. Look at the wools tucked in here. I love these types of photos where you see people's workshops and you can just spend a moment looking deep into the picture and just seeing how they sort of organize their creativity. Oh, look at the beads. Like, I've got all my beads individually sorted, you know. And look at this. That is just, would be so freeing, but on one hand would probably drive me nuts. But I love the fact that she's just got this bead soup. Gosh, she's really written a lot to us. This is so good. See, have a look at the books that she has. Petal Power. I see a lot of botanical books. The Study of Flowers. Oh, she's a clever chook, this girl. Look at that artwork. Oh, could you imagine she'd have little piles of stitching and threads and, oh, just, yeah, oh. Goodness me. That piece there, that is from, oh gosh, I don't want to get this wrong. It's a, I think it's an aunt or a grandmother. This was a tablecloth that was had some embroidery on it, and it's like her foundation. It's her piece that brings her back to where she needs to be. If she's sort of floating around in the ideas world or just looking for some anchoring of ideas, I'm sure you've all got a piece like that. I know I do. There's certain things in my craft room I look at and go, right, focus back down into where I want to be. And that tablecloth, and it's stunning, absolutely stunning. You can see the white flowers all over it and the stitching. It's just beautiful. Sometimes it's even just a doily. That's it there underneath her work. So you can just, it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if you get a chance to get into the course next year, I'd highly recommend it, because it's, you explore all of this too. I didn't actually do it because I haven't had time, but you get some of that air dry clay and make shapes and then stitch with those shapes. Excuse me. She goes to these rock pools that are near her home and looks into them, and she sees different shapes and textures and then adds stitch and thread. Very clever. She's always looking for beads. We all do that. We're always salvaging interesting. There's the tablecloth. Isn't it beautiful? Look, she must be stitching into it, or there's been a repair. It's just, I don't have a piece like that. Treasure hunting, looking for treasures, fabrics, beads. Look at all the botanical on that back wall. So I think this book is, oh, seriously, if you were an organised person, this would be utter chaos. But boy, I think that's half the fun of our craft, is the hunting for treasures. Look, she's forming a colour palette, laying out a bit of a mood board, just bits and pieces of things, the pinks and the greens, just little, and yeah, she's a big one for taking a photo. And then you can put this away and think about it. You don't have to, you know, if you're limited in space, sometimes that's a really good option, is just do a series of colour palettes. And look at her looking for treasures. Like, couldn't you just slide into that photo with her? Look at the flower. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Henry Matisse, yeah. Look at the shape of that daisy. We don't have a daisy like that. Like that in itself, imagine stitching that. You got that big bulbous top to the flower and the petals down. Very interesting. Oh, this is going to be so handy just to have these references to floral. Imagine that, full of French knots, colonial knots and beads. Oh, thank you, Fleur. This is great. For those of us that don't have access to, you know, flowers in the wild as such, pictures like this are going to be really, yeah, like just breaking down the rose. That's interesting in itself to stitch. So, yeah, this is a great botanical reference. Yeah, she mentions that. She is always dissecting flowers. She's cutting apart this daisy. I've never seen a daisy like it. Does she say where or what this flower is? Dissecting flowers is a wonderful way of understanding their shape and helps when it comes to drawing or sketching them. Yeah, like seriously, if she hadn't cut that flower in half, you would not have seen the detail. Got a bit of a shadow there in that. And when you start looking at that, you can see the stitch process. What would you do in that space of white? Then there's a little golden ring. Then you got these little whitish lines here and darker there. I'll bring it closer to the camera. So it really helps to think about your stitch. Even this side, that green now. Okay, you can just picture Corrine now walking around with her butcher's knife, cutting flowers in half everywhere. My husband's going to think that something's seriously wrong with me. And look, even pulling that one flower apart, all the little elements that came, pulling this one apart, all the little elements that came from it. Very clever. True artistry, isn't it? Look at these leaves. I've seen that shape in her work. The forest floor. Working with the season. Look at the frost on that. Winter. Oh, look at, seriously, look at the stitch in that. That's weaving with variegated threads. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. They look like those water lily flowers. Spring. Yeah. Oh, yeah, she takes us through paints and adding paints to fabric and gouache paints. She recommended some paints to us, and they were just like children quality paints. Like, it was so good. It was very cost effective. So, yeah. Oh, gosh, if you guys get a chance to do the course, do it. She takes you through sketching, She gives you all these little exercises. Here she is dyeing fabric. If you can't get to the course, get the book, because there's little morsels through the whole. See, look at that fabric. It's dyed. And you see the washes of colour? There's beauty in that. Oh, very clever. Gosh, she's put a lot of work into this. Building a colour palette. Look, there's beads again. Embracing the slow, yeah. Well, we've all got that down pat. Look at this. Just gorgeous. How inspiring. Just stitching complementary threads over complementary fabrics. She uses this hoop a lot, and I'm finding it pretty good actually. I wouldn't use it all the time. I do like the freedom of feeling the fabric in my hand and stitching. But for this type of piece where it's so densely stitched, it's really going to help my piece stay nice and flat. So if you don't have one of these, I'm pretty sure I got mine from Amazon. I saw it pop up on someone's video and I thought, oh, I'll grab it. It was quite cheap, well, not too crazy expensive, and I hadn't had a chance to play with it until Fleur's course came along, and I saw her pull it out, and I thought, right, I'm going to use it. Oh, look at that. Just look at the stitches in that. Oh, she's a clever, clever girl. Oh, this is just yummy. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Fudge. Oh, this is great because a lot of these images are within my course. So to go and find those sections to revisit and look at and really, you know, lose myself into it is tricky at times to find it in technology. So I just love a book. I love just sitting down and flipping through some pages. Look at that, onto a tapestry. Oh, what a clever photo. Look at that. She's got some work onto a tapestry, but it's all sitting on another piece of work and then a third piece of work underneath. And it's just, oh, that could have been a full page spread, Fleur. That's a beautiful photo. Might be further along. Look at these. Sketching, understanding form of flowers. Look at all that. So much work. Look at the back of it. Oh, it's just as beautiful as the front. Oh, that's the big piece that's on the front. Just all the stitches. Oh, it's right up our alley, isn't it? There we go. Yumminess. Right up. Oh, look at her thread. She talks about that. Oh, I don't know if I could do that. Oh, Jennifer does this as well. She'll have an orts jar and they pull threads from them and away they go. But oh, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. These artists, they're on another level, aren't they? I'd have to seriously let go of a lot of... Oh, look at the detail. I'd have to let go of a lot of things to be as free as that. Oh, guys. And look, I'm only halfway through the book. Oh, wow. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Otherwise, I'll be flipping through the whole thing, and you need to rush out and buy it because there is so much yumminess in this. Oh, my goodness. All right, this is going to be in probably my top 5. I can see it just for, I don't know, focusing my mind to look at little details or a looseness or a colour palette that I don't usually use but would bring me great joy because it is bright. Oh, beautiful. All right, guys. Look after yourselves, and like I said, if you can't get into the course or you've missed out, go and grab the book, because I can see morsels of the course through this whole book. This is brilliant. Congratulations, Fleur. You have done a spectacular job. Look at all this text. Like, the girl has poured her heart and soul into this. Oh, I can't wait to read it. Look at that, an existing doily that you embellish, which we sort of do, but not do. You know what I mean? Like, everyone does different stitches in different ways, and it's just beautiful. I see it within the Roxy Journal of Stitchery Facebook page. If you're not part of that, get into it, guys, because everyone's interpretation of the different prompts we're getting is just glorious. Just glorious. So fun to be part of. So if you've been watching the Slow Stitch community and you haven't picked up a needle and thread, just go for it. You've got nothing to lose. Just pick up that thread. And there's plenty of great artists that you can watch and learn from that give their time. It's just beautiful. All right, guys. I'm getting emotional. I better leave it at that. Bye, guys. Look after yourselves.